Let me paint you a picture. A young man sat alone in his apartment, staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m. His world was falling apart. Job gone, relationship over, hope slipping away. On his coffee table was an old Bible his grandmother had given him. He didn't know where to start, so he just opened it at random, but the words made no sense to him. The next morning, as he was walking to the bus stop, a stranger smiled at him and said, "Hey, I don't know why, but I feel like God wants me to tell you He loves you and He sent His Son to die for you." That simple moment cracked open the door to his heart. Months later, he surrendered his life to Christ. Now here's the question: what if that stranger had kept walking? What if they'd stayed silent? Let's read Romans 10:14-15 together. "How then are they to call on Him in whom they have not believed? And how are they to believe in Him whom they have not heard? And how are they to hear without a preacher? But how are they to preach unless they are sent? Just as it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news of good things." Paul's words in Romans 10:14-15 unfold like a perfectly linked chain, each link leading naturally to the next. Just one verse earlier, in Romans 10:13, he makes the sweeping promise, "Everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved." That's the heart of the gospel. Salvation is available to all who call upon Christ. But then Paul asks a series of piercing, logical questions. How will they call on Him in whom they have not believed? How will they believe in Him whom they have not heard? And how will they hear without a preacher? It's as though Paul pulls back the curtain on God's chosen method for spreading the gospel. He doesn't send angels to preach it. He doesn't write it in the clouds for all to see. Instead, He uses people to reach people. God's plan has always been personal. This is why Isaiah 52:7 says, "How lovely on the mountains are the feet of him who brings good news." Notice that God doesn't call the preacher's face lovely or their voice lovely. He calls their feet lovely. Why? Because those feet are willing to go. Those feet are obedient to carry the message of salvation. Jesus echoed this truth when He gave His disciples the Great Commission in Matthew 28:19-20. "Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, teaching them to observe all that I commanded you." This isn't an optional mission for the super spiritual few. It is a calling for every single believer. The moment you and I came to Christ, we became part of His rescue team. So let me make it personal. Who in your everyday life is within earshot of your faith? A co-worker who sits a few desks away? A neighbor you wave to but never really talk with? A family member who seems closed off but deep down is searching? And if they don't hear the gospel from you, who will they hear it from? Think of it this way. Imagine you're on a rescue boat in the middle of stormy seas. You've been pulled from the water, wrapped in a blanket, and set safely on the deck. But out there, in the churning waves, you see others clinging desperately to debris, moments from going under. What would you do? You'd grab the rope and throw it. Sharing the gospel is just like that. You and I don't have the power to save a soul. Only Jesus does, but we are the ones who throw the lifeline. So how do we live this out in a real, everyday way? First, pray for open doors. Colossians 4:3 urges us to pray that God will open up to us a door for the Word. This is where it begins, asking God each day, "Lord, who needs to hear from you today?" He will surprise you with opportunities if you're looking for them. Second, share your story. You don't have to have every verse memorized or a polished sermon ready. Simply tell people what Jesus has done for you. Remember the blind man in John 9? When questioned, he didn't give a theological lecture. He said, "I was blind, but now I see." Sometimes the simplest testimony is the most powerful. Third, support those who are sent. Not all of us are called to go to the far corners of the earth, but we can partner with those who are missionaries, pastors, evangelists. Your prayers, financial support, and encouragement extend the reach of the gospel in ways you may never fully see this side of heaven. Let's be honest. Stepping out to share Christ isn't always comfortable. It might be awkward, it might be risky, but eternity is worth the discomfort. Souls are worth it. The cross was worth it for Jesus, and you were worth it to him. Friend, if this message encouraged you, would you let me know in the comments? Miss, I'd love to hear your story and even pray with you personally. And if you just prayed to receive Christ, welcome to the family of God. Please tell someone today, and tell me too. We want to walk this journey with you. If you haven't yet, be sure to like this video, subscribe to Daily Walk in the Word, and turn on the bell so you won't miss any future devotions. We go verse by verse through God's Word to help you grow deeper in your walk with Jesus every single day. And please, don't keep this truth to yourself. Share this video with someone who needs the hope of the gospel today. You never know whose eternity could be changed because you cared enough to share.